So I went to the consulate and I talked to the clerk. I was like, "Hi, I'm here today. I wanted to issue my passport." And she was like, "Okay, just give me your American birth certificate." And I was like, "I don't have an American birth certificate because I was born in Brazil, but I have all this paperwork that is the secondary evidence of my citizenship." And she treated me like crazy. She was like, no, honey, that's not how it works.
Hey Vanessa, how are you doing?
Hi, Eva. I'm doing good. It's
Thank
my
you for
morning
being
now.
here. Yeah. So
Thank
how is
you.
life?
It's going good. Can't
Every-
complain.
Yeah.
I had to adapt, I'm a yoga instructor, and all the studios in LA are closed. And I also used to teach private classes. I would go to my students' houses and teach. So right now I'm just doing everything virtually.
And how is it?
In the beginning, in the first classes I was teaching, I'm like, I really miss my students, because it's different to teach 101, to offer adjustments, like to be present and hold space for your student. But I'm like, Vanessa, you can't be just suffering forever. You have to adapt. You have to accept and actually see this as a blessing. Like, I'm so grateful for technology, and to be able to keep teaching through my phone.
True.
Because back, I don't know, 10 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
So Vanessa, you are here today to tell us about your story. I believe your story is really interesting. I mean, you are now an American citizen, but only a few years ago you didn't know that you were an American citizen, and you were living in Brazil, right? And you moved from Brazil to the US. But not just that, but also you changed your career. I mean, you were in the law, you were studying law, I guess, right?
Yeah, I went to law school in Brazil.
Yeah, you went to law school in Brazil, and when you went to America and when you went to the US, you didn't want to work in the law field, right? So tell us a bit about your story, like how this all started, and how did you find out that you were an American citizen, and like just a bit about everything.
Yeah, for sure. So I was born and raised in Brazil. I'm from São Paulo. I was born in a small town, and I moved to the capital to go to law school, and I worked there for, I think I lived in São Paulo capital about 8 years total, and I love it. I absolutely love the city. And I worked in different areas. I worked with human rights for the government. I worked for a law firm. I worked as a clerk for a judge for the court. And to be honest, I think I went to law school because that's what it was expected out of me.
I was going to ask you this question,
Asian
actually.
Parents, you're expected to. I think for Asian parents, you're expected to either do law engineering or be a doctor, something like that. Because I remember I wanted to do architecture or psychology, and my mom was like, "No, the economy is bad. You're gonna starve. You need to find something very stable to do." So I end up.
They are right in a way, but you know, our parents always think about our.
Yeah, it's the mentality of the older generation,
Yeah.
So they come from post-war, and they are always thinking about ways. It's like a survival mode.
Yeah.
You want something that's the safest possible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So So I went to law school, and I actually wanted to be a judge. That's how I was gearing my studies. And then the last 2 years in law, I was clerking for a judge. And that's when I realized I didn't want to be one. Yeah, something shifted, and thank God that I clerked for a judge so I could see it from inside, and find out for myself that that's not the path that I wanted to be in.
How long did
So
it
I'm very
take?
grateful for that.
How long did it take for you to find out that you're not made for that?
Yeah, to be honest, I remember very clearly the first year of law. I was studying for my exams, and I'm just like, that can't be it. Like, I deep down, like my first year of law, I already knew that like something was off. I was good at it, and I went to a really like prestigious, really good law school. And I think that made me like guilty too, because it was so hard to get in, so hard to get accepted. I studied so much to get accepted, and during law school as well. Like I gave my all, sweat, blood, and tears. And how come after all that I want to just give up? Right? It's like an internal battle.
Yeah.
So anyways, in 2014, I came to the US for the first time to visit my sister. I have half siblings that live in the US. And I remember telling my sister that I couldn't see myself doing law for 5 years, let alone for the rest of my life. That I wasn't feeling, I was depressed. I was not feeling fulfilled. And I was feeling that there was something more for me, and my sister just very simply, she just said, it's okay. Why don't you just move here to the US and start over, start fresh? You literally can be anything you want. And then I'm like, you're funny. That's not how life works. Like that's not so simple. Because also I was independent, I don't have anyone paying my bills. I was always like independent since I working. So if I came to the US not being a citizen, I would have to come here and get a student visa, and that would not allow me to have a job. So I wouldn't be able to pay for my bills here. My alternative would be pursuing green card, because my father is Brazilian American. He has dual citizenship. So I hired an attorney here in the US and started asking like, what's my best option if I want to move to the US? And he told me my best option would be green card. However, it would take me about 7 to 8 years to get the green card issued, because there is limitations, for how many green cards are issued annually. And while I'm waiting for that visa, for that green card, I wouldn't be able to work either, because that's illegal and you can get deported.
Yeah.
So I was, I was almost giving up on that dream. I'm like, no, I can't do that. Just have to put my head down, keep working here. But then I came across this article from a law firm during my research, and the article's headline literally was, if you are researching for green card because one of your parents is an American citizen, you might be already a citizen without knowing it. Something like that. And I'm like, wait, what?
They were talking
mind
to
blown.
you.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, this is for me. Let me read it. And so what I came to find out is that, so right now the law, the citizenship laws right now are very strict. To be considered an American citizen, you have to be born in the US. So we call it in law, we call jus soli. You have to be born in land, or your parents have to be like military parents serving somewhere overseas. And I was not born here. I was born in Brazil. So technically I could never be a citizen. However, the citizenship laws, they changed over time. Every 5 years or 10 years, they were getting more and more strict. And the law that is valid to your case is the one that was valid the year that you were born, not the current law. So I had to go and research all the laws and, do the cross-reference with Constitution back then, all that. And thank God I went to law school that allowed me to do all that research. So I think everything happens for a reason, I never regret going to law school because all the knowledge and the skills I have, like, really helped me and help me every day, in life.
Yeah.
So, so I did the research. And I found out that I think it was like 5 requirements that I would have to meet to be considered a Native American citizen. First is like having one of the parents as an American citizen, and the American parent has to be living in the U.S. prior to your birth at least 10 years. From those 10 years, 6 years, he has to have contributed to taxes. So pay taxes to IRS. The child has to be born inside wedlock. So your parents have to be legally married by the time that you were born. I think that's it. Maybe a couple more that I can't remember right now. But I literally met all the requirements. And I'm like, I knew I met all the requirements. And I'm like, wow, oh my God, I am an American citizen. All my life I've been an American citizen. Nobody knew, not even the attorney. Not even the immigration attorney knew about this. And even, my mom went to the consulate when I was young, and they told her the same thing. Like, no, your child has to be born in the U.S. or lived in the U.S. before completing 18 years old for at least a couple years to have a chance, whatever. So this was completely new information. So what I did, now that I knew I was American, is I had to gather all the paperwork to prove it. So what I did is, so after I visited my sister, 4 months later, I came back to the U.S. to gather all that paperwork. So I went to IRS office. I went to all these places to gather the official paperwork. And we call it's a secondary evidence of citizenship. So I didn't even have to go through court. I went straight to the consulate. So I came back to Brazil. I went straight to the consulate. And I remember my sister-in-law telling me, she was like, Vanessa, this is so rare, that nobody's going to know about this. The clerks at the consulate, they're not going to know about this. So they're probably going to tell you no, but you have to keep fighting and ask if you can talk to the consul. And I'm like, okay. So she prepared me, mentally. And my English was not even that good back then. So I was so nervous. So I went to the consulate and I talked to the clerk. I was like, hi, I'm here today. I wanted to issue my passport. And she was like, okay, just give me your American birth certificate. And I was like, I don't have an American birth certificate because I was born in Brazil, but I have all this paperwork that is the secondary evidence of my citizenship. And she treated me like crazy. She was like, no, honey, that's not how it works. You have to be born in the U.S. or this or that. She started like making up a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm confident this is enough. This is enough proof. And she was like, no, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, may I speak to the consul? And she started getting upset because I was contacting her.
She felt offended.
Her authority, right? But she said, okay, just sit down there and I'll call your name in a bit. I'll go talk to him. I was like, okay. And I never prayed so hard in my life. I was just like, please God that this consul knows this law because it's so rare. Like, I hope he came across this law sometime when he was studying, And then she comes back 15 minutes later. She looks at me and she just goes, next window. And that's it. I talked to the next clerk and I had my passport in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I went from not knowing I was American to being an American citizen with a passport in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
That was crazy. And all my friends, my friends are lawyers, all of them, and then they didn't know either about this. And they're like, Vanessa, you just won life lottery.
Wow. And they are all Brazilian citizens, your friends?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lucky you.
So,
and how long did it take you from like preparing all the documents and everything to getting your passport?
Yeah, so I was researching for a couple months after I came back from that first visit. So the research itself took about 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
So when I knew what I needed, I just needed to come back to the US and gather all that paperwork. I think I spent a couple weeks here, and I remember my brother taking me everywhere to gather all that. So from the time I started researching to having the passport was not even 6 months.
Wow.
It was really fast.
And did you come back to the attorney that you
move.
hired earlier?
No.
you
I'm
should
like,
have.
right. Going forward, I'm the one doing consultations for this.
New job.
Great PSA, and that's why I wanted to do a video, because I know there's so many people, but they don't know, because this is so specific. This is But just must know. I don't think the government wants people to know that.
and now that you moved to the US, how did you start your new life?
So when I came here, I was just trying to find what makes me happy. That's it. That was the goal. Because when we go through life and we're young, we're told what we have to accomplish in order to have the perfect life. And I was always the straight A student. I was, great grades. I would I was so nerd. As a kid, I would compete in math Olympics, stuff like that. And then got accepted to a great law school. Did literally everything I was supposed to do. Got my career in law. I was making really good money. I was in the perfect state. Something was lacking, and I was so confused. For a long time, I was confused. I was like, why am I not happy? I have the perfect job. I make good money. I live in a beautiful apartment. What is wrong with me? Am I broken? What is not switching here?
Yeah.
To be happy, right? And I don't know, I am a person that I need to be working with something that makes me happy. There's people that don't care. They can be literally anything and they'll find joy elsewhere. I need to find the joy, the happiness, the fulfillment in my career. You know what I mean? Because I love working. So if I'm not happy doing what I love, then there's no point. I see no point. So really, when I moved here, so I love interior design, and also I remember before considering going to law school, I wanted to be an architect. So I thought, I'm gonna come to the US and I'm gonna study interior design, and I did. I went to UCLA for interior design, to their program. It was really nice. I had so much fun doing it, and for the first time, I'm like, this is really fun.
Yes,
so for the first time, I found out something that, because in law, I mean, you can find fun in law, but I didn't. Every time I was studying, I would think this is so boring. I was good at it, but I was like, I can't see passion. So I went to interior design school. I worked for a furniture retailer for a while as an account manager. So while I was in that process, I was just thinking, wait a second, here I am again, kind of like catering for the wealthy. And I didn't want to feel that way. I'm like, I came so far to like fall into this like catering for the wealthy again. That's like a feeling that I had in law, especially when I was working for a law firm.
Mm-hmm.
So I started, like, I did a bunch of coaching with life coaches, business coaches to find what would be aligned with my skills, my values, my passions. And in this process, I decided I wanted to be a yoga instructor. And so I went to teacher training. And when I started teaching yoga, I knew that was it. That was it. I found it because it literally aligned with all my values. I love teaching. I love helping people, you know, find their mental health, improve their mental health. Wellness is all about my life has been wellness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm literally like, okay, now my passions are aligned with my skills that are aligned, you know, and when you are in that alignment, I feel like just life just flows.
Yeah.
Things just start happening to you that you know that you're in the right path. And you don't feel that resistance anymore. Like, of course, there's resistance of just getting yourself out there and getting out of your comfort zone, searching growth for yourself. But it's not so, I don't even know how to explain. When you're not aligned, it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
No, it is. And so before you started doing yoga classes, I mean, you went through a long procedure. You went through many things before finding the thing that you are most satisfied with, that you are most fulfilled with. And here is the thing: many people, before they start doing what they love, they start asking, how am I supposed to get there? And they are wasting their time, they are wasting their energy and their everything just by wondering how they are going to get from point A to point B. And I think people should not worry very much about the procedure or about the ways that they can reach their goals or their dreams. They just need to start with something, and then there are many things that will come to in their lives, and they will lead them like softly and gently to do what they are fated to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, a lot of people just say, and I used to be like that, I don't know what I'm passionate about. And it's okay. You don't need to,
Mm-hmm.
because the path is actually go and research, and you don't need to, you just have to follow your curiosity.
Yeah.
I always say, follow your curiosity. What are you curious about? What makes you excited? And then just try it. Try this, try that, shadow
Mm-hmm.
someone that works with that. And then you just feel it's less rational and more here.
Yeah.
And I think Steve Jobs always said, like, you can only connect the dots when you look backwards. Mm-hmm. You can't connect the dots looking forward. Yeah. So what that means is, like, for example, in my life, I did everything, and I needed to do everything. I needed to do, you know, to go through all of the career paths that I went through, so that when I was prepared to do what I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And Steve Jobs, he said, like, I studied typography, I studied design, I studied this, I studied languages, and in the end, they all combined became what I needed to create Apple, to create the products. And that's it. Mm-hmm. And if something is wrong, like, let's say you're working with something, but you're not feeling fulfilled, it's probably because you're not supposed to be doing that specific thing. But you can learn from here, learn from that, and then play the orchestra.
Every experience, like, we can take a break from every experience to build our wall.
Yeah. Did you watch Steve Jobs' movie?
Not yet. No.
his partner asked him, "What are you doing here? You don't know how to code. You don't know how to design. You don't do this. You don't do that. What are you doing here?" And Steve Jobs looks at him and he goes, "I play the orchestra." You know, he's not
Yeah.
supposed to be playing violin or that or that. He sees the whole thing because he went through all the experiences in his life. So I think that's a great quote.
True. So now, how is this going with you with yoga classes?
It's doing really well. Because of Corona, all the yoga studios are closed at the moment, and I also can't teach in person. I used to have private classes that I would go to my student's house and teach. So because of that, I had to stop, but I started offering classes online.
And does it work?
Yeah, in the beginning, I was a little sad. Every time I would teach, I'm like, I really want to be there for my student. I want to hold space. I want to offer one-on-one adjustments. But then I'm like, Vanessa, we have to adapt. You know, I think the number one thing to be successful in life is the ability to being able to adapt to situations.
True.
So what this quarantine taught me is that our world's not going to be the same. Even when we start reopening things, it's not going to be the same. We're going to have to rethink a lot of stuff. So in my head, I'm like, okay, and how do I adapt to this new reality? And I came to the conclusion that I have to start being more present in the online space. In that way, I can keep teaching my students and I can keep helping more people too. Because from the online space, I'm not limited anymore to my surroundings. I'm not limited to Los Angeles. I can literally teach someone across the globe, someone in Japan, someone in, you know, Australia, because I have friends that live there. So, and then it kind of switched in my head. I'm like, this is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. This is a positive thing.
It opens to you a new perspective of seeing, of thinking about your career.
Yeah. So right now I'm studying to like learn how to edit videos and do like really nice content for online so that people can follow. Yeah, it's fun. You like editing?
I do like editing videos.
A little bit.
But it's okay. I mean, you can try many things each time, and it doesn't work, and sometimes you start laughing about yourself, like, really, what is this? Nobody's gonna like this. I mean, I personally don't care about if people like what I do or not, as long as I do like it. But you know, sometimes you don't like it yourself. And you start asking, I'm not liking it myself. I mean, how people are supposed to like it, you know?
Yeah, but we're not supposed to do our best work right off the gate. Like, we're supposed to start messy and then learn along the way.
Exactly.
And that's a lesson I had pretty recently, like in the last couple of years, because I'm so perfectionist. I used to be so perfectionist. And then you fall into that analysis paralysis. You then don't do anything because you want it to be perfect. And you only want to put out work that is perfect. That's not how you're not gonna do anything.
Yeah, I've been like that for so long.
That's how you, same. So now I'm like, Vanessa, it doesn't need to be perfect. You just have to get the job done. Yeah. Because this job, for you, it might not be an A+, maybe it's a B+, but that B+ work will definitely help someone.
Yes.
And I feel the same about your content too. Maybe you're not 100% satisfied, but that video that you edited and posted, that video will help someone.
True.
Every time you put out content, for example, the next time you're going to put out content, it's going to be better and better and better and better.
True.
But if you wait until you're perfect, you're never going to put out work
anything. Yeah. You will never do anything, and you will never be perfect.
Yeah, and I had to have that pep talk to myself when I was thinking of offering online classes, because in my head,
Mhm.
you know, we're here, ego, and I'm like, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I There's so many teachers offering online classes that are way better, way more experienced than I am. Why would it matter for me to put out content?
Mhm.
And it matters because people that follow you, people that like you, that can relate to you, they're going to be inspired by that.
Yes, true.
And it doesn't matter if there's other people offering the same, because people follow you because they like you.
Mhm.
And a lot of my friends, and I changed my mind because a lot of my friends that see what I put out, like yoga, about yoga, they're like, Vanessa, I always get inspired by your yoga posts. Like, I started doing yoga because of you, or I went back to yoga because of you, or I want to start yoga. And I'm like, even like this little silly stuff that I'm putting out is inspiring people. Like, I have to get over myself. I have to get over myself, and I have to start producing content and putting out there, because I know it's going to help them. They ask for it. You know,
Mhm.
they're like, can you just like put a class, because they can't attend my live class. I do every Saturday a live class, and they're like, oh, because of the time, you know, and they're like, can you just record and put it out there? I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, just get over yourself, rip the band-aid off, just do it.
And how many students do you have, like on your live classes?
On my live classes,
Hmm.
it depends, because some days it was like 10 people, 15. Some days it was like very few people, and I like
Wow.
both ways.
Yeah.
I like when very little people, because they keep the audio on, and then I can talk to them while I'm teaching, and there's feedback.
Hmm.
And then when it's a big group, I can't. It's everybody is muted,
Yeah, it's a
so I
mess.
can't, you know, have that conversation. But it's a nice practice, because I love seeing that everyone's like together practicing at the same time.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
it's a good
it
feeling.
must be beautiful. I have never experienced that, but when you feel like you are giving tasks to people to do, and you are watching them doing it, and you are in, I mean, you are in located. You're located in LA, right? You're in LA, and your students there must be, I think, all over the world. So isn't that funny how you can give instructions to people all around the world, and they're all gathered in one group chat, and you are watching them doing what you are asking them to do,
Yeah,
and everybody is happy with that. I mean, that's beautiful.
yeah,
I
it's
like that.
beautiful, and
Yeah.
that's what changed my mind. Yeah, I'm like, this is a blessing. It's not like plan B. This is a blessing that I can teach someone, that my best friend that is living across the country, and then my brother that lives far and is self-quarantining right now. Like, I can still teach him, and yeah, people in Brazil, you know, my friends in Brazil. So I think it's really cool.
Yes, and also you have that advantage of speaking like English and Portuguese. You can do yoga classes for your Brazilian students and for your American or English speaker students.
I haven't tried to teach a class full in Portuguese, do in the future, because I have some people in Brazil that reach out to me, and they're like, oh, I would love to classes, but I don't speak English. I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I can try to copy what you're doing, like the movements, but I don't understand. And I'm like, okay, I need to, again, get over myself and start practicing teaching in Portuguese, because it's very different. I
Yes.
don't think right now I would be ready to teach a class in Portuguese,
Why?
even though it's my native language. I know it's funny, but because I did my training in English and everything, so I think I have to just be a student of a Brazilian teacher, for example,
Mm-hmm.
like take some classes in Portuguese, and then see how it's done in Portuguese, how they
Like
teach and how
to learn the
they name
technical
the
words.
poses. Yeah, there's technical words,
Mhm.
and that, like all the poses, the way they call it is a little different. Yeah, and they use a lot of Sanskrit too. Sanskrit is the original language of yoga, so there's a lot of terminology that is Sanskrit, which is
Mhm.
a good thing though, because I do learn some Sanskrit. So my classes I teach in English, but I use Sanskrit words for some poses. And
Mhm.
then I realized that in Portuguese, I might not know like how they say in Portuguese, but like the poses, they are using the Sanskrit. So it's I don't have to learn new things. I know it's the same words at least, but
Yeah.
yeah, I need to
Whatever
practice
language you're
better.
speaking, there is the same words to be used.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
And now, but I think your Portuguese students could it could be helpful for them on different ways. First, they are learning yoga. They are having yoga classes, and second thing is that they are get to use to English.
Yeah.
So it will like it will be challenging for them, right? But it will help them
Yeah.
improve their English. It will
Yeah.
make them learn English.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing too. Yeah. They can listen in English, and then by naturally, I always say like the best way to learn a language is not necessarily like taking a class of languages. It's
Mm-hmm.
like watching movies, listening to audiobooks or reading books,
Exactly. Yeah.
just having a day-to-day conversation with a English speaker. That's how I learn.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't study English, but the way I learn English, movies, podcasts, audiobooks, that's how I learn.
Music.
Music a lot.
Yeah. And are you learning another language right now?
Well, I have a dream. I want to be fluent in Spanish. I understand Spanish, but I'm not I'm conversational, but I'm not fluent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like perfect Spanish, just broken Spanish, but I
Yeah.
understand. So I want to be fluent Spanish in French, Italian, Japanese.
Wow.
What else? And I study German too. I love languages. I studied German during law school because we were instructed to know a third language either, and then the teachers, well, English really in those two languages, the original textbooks. So he said it would be really helpful for you
Mm-hmm.
if you know those languages. So I decided to study German during law school because my best friend she is German descent and she's fluent, completely fluent in German. So I'm like, I have a free tutor. so so I decided to study German during law school, and it was fun. I was really good at it for a while. Now it's been so long, and I pretty much lost everything. But I remember, yeah, I would tell my friend to just talk to me in German. I was like, just talk to me in German. If I don't understand something, you just tweak, try to say something else.
Yeah.
So
I
I
have
can
tried
understand.
studying
And
German like 3 years ago, but I was not really devoted to it, and I gave up after like a couple of months.
yeah, nowadays there's so many apps too that you can use. Have you ever tried Duolingo?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
I love Duolingo because it's like a game.
Mm-hmm.
You
It's
do a
fun.
little bit a day. Yeah.
There are many apps like
What languages do you speak? You speak French, right?
I speak Arabic. It's my native language. I speak French, English, and the other languages just few words like in Spanish, Turkish, and German, just few words. And recently I have tried to start learning some Russian, so I have some few basics in
Mhm.
all of these.
Oh, Russian's so cool.
I love
Russian's
it.
so cool. Yeah, I love languages. If I had like to pick one superpower, I would want to like know all the languages so I can communicate with anyone.
Do you have an idea how many languages are there in the world?
There's a lot, like hundreds, I think, because
I
there's
think.
so many dialects too.
Mhm. Yeah,
Hmm.
and
And I don't
the
know if because
yeah,
you speak multiple languages, you probably notice that the more languages you speak, it's easier to learn new languages too.
yeah,
Because for
yeah.
example, German, a lot of the base in German is English, French. French and Portuguese it's very similar.
French and
Not in
Portuguese,
the
yeah.
way you speak or write, but
Hmm.
yeah, the
There's
same
some many
roots.
similarities between French, Portuguese,
Spanish.
Spanish, and a bit of Italian as well. All
Hmm.
these languages, there are many common words.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Romanian. Yeah, that's why I said like, oh, I want to be fluent in Italian, French, Portuguese, Spanish, but they're not that different, so it's not that hard.
Hmm.
Now Japanese is something else, like Japanese, Chinese.
I mean, in Japanese,
But
you should learn the alphabet, how it
mhm,
is. I mean, it's different than French and all those languages because there is everything new in it. Should first learn the alphabet, how each character is written, even in writing the
mhm.
Japanese alphabet. I mean, it's really hard. I mean, I don't know how to distinguish between all those symbols, all those signs. I, how many, like, I think there are some,
They
how many
look.
characters there are in Japanese?
I think there's like thousands
Wow.
of kanji. Yeah, because in Japanese, so I'm half Japanese. My mom was
Hmm.
born in Japan,
Yeah.
and she moved to Brazil when she was little. So I grew up in a Japanese household. My grandparents speak Japanese all day. So that's why I know a little bit of Japanese is, I can't understand,
Hmm.
but I can't reply back. And I know I can't read. I can read a little bit of Japanese, the simple characters. Uh, when I was like 6 years old, I used to go to Japanese school, and we were not allowed to speak Portuguese. We could only speak Japanese to the teachers, to our friends. So at some point in my life, I could speak Japanese. And I remember like I used to speak Japanese, but I forgot because you don't use it.
But I think
Um,
when you learn
but
things
Japanese,
when you're at a younger age, and even when
mm-hmm,
you're
I
now that you are grown
remember.
up, it will be easier
Mm-hmm.
for you to remember everything back.
Oh yeah. That's true. That's true.
Hmm.
Because I remember I spent a month in Japan traveling, and it was so easy. Like I was picking up really fast. It's like it's activating some hidden part in your brain. Like it's there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Traveling helps a lot. Traveling
it
helps
does.
improving language a lot.
So, so much. Yeah, definitely traveling helped with my English and with my Spanish too. Cause I did a trip that was 2 months. I was backpacking in South America.
Hmm.
And my Spanish wasn't very good before that trip. But because most of people in the places I visited didn't speak English, I
Yeah.
had to try and speak Spanish. So that's how it got better. And then when I moved to California, there's so many Mexicans here. Not only Mexicans, but a lot of people from Central America and all that.
Hmm.
So I remember I used to tell them whenever someone speaks fluent Spanish, like, talk to me in Spanish. Talk to me in Spanish so I can learn. Like even the cleaning ladies at my other job of like, I was like communicating with them every day. Like when I see them talking about their family, only Spanish, so that I can learn that you have to try that way.
Yes, you have
And
to put
on that
yourself in
note,
those situations. Yeah.
I want to acknowledge you
Hmm.
because English is not your first language.
No,
Like
it's
you
not.
said, you sometimes you're like searching for words in your head because it's you forget some words.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, you're still doing your podcast, you're still interviewing people, so you're definitely gonna learn so fast. It's gonna become like second nature because you're putting yourself out there.
Exactly,
you're
because
trying.
when you force yourself to be in a situation that you're not comfortable with, I mean, you don't have a choice but to learn and to improve, and that's it. I mean, I'm feeling that there is a difference between my first episode that I have made and this one.
Yeah.
I'm feeling more spontaneous.
Yeah,
I'm
for
feeling
sure.
more fluent. You know, what countries have you ever been to?
All of them, or in Europe?
All of the countries that you've been to.
I've never been to any country in Africa. I really want to go. But in Europe, I went to France, Italy, Germany, Austria, Netherlands. I think that's it.
And
Czech Republic. I went to Prague.
No, it's beautiful. Prague is a really beautiful city.
And then I went to Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, I always wanted to go there.
It's amazing. Even though it is like a historical town, they rebuilt it, and it looks like a movie. Like there's castles and old bridges.
They have beautiful architecture.
Mm-hmm. I went to Japan, like I told you.
Yeah.
I went to Cuba. That was a really nice experience. I went in South America. I went to Peru, Chile, and Bolivia, and Argentina.
So you were backpacking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about this experience.
I stayed in hostels along the way, so I made friends in the hostels, and then we would travel together, like to the places. So it was really fun. Yeah.
And did you have any prior plan, or you just go in with the flow?
I had a flight booked to the capital of Peru, Lima, and I had on my way in, and my way out was the capital of Chile. So I just knew I had this time frame to do all that. So I visited the cities I wanted to visit. Some cities that were not in my plan, I ended up visiting, because yes, for example, have you ever heard of Nazca lines? The Nazca lines?
No.
Nazca lines are these humongous drawings on the floor that you can only see from a plane, like from a really high up, and it's a mystery in history. They don't know who made
the drawings that we that they are on the fields and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
they still don't know how they are made, right?
That, for example, but one of the guys that was traveling, he was like, "You're here, you gotta go, let's go." Like, what other opportunity you would have to see them? I was like, okay, let's do it. And then we traveled to this town, and there's like tiers of price to go, like in a bigger plane with more people is like the cheapest, and then there's like a middle ground, and then there's the plane that's only 2 pilots and then 2 people in the back. This one was the most expensive one. So we were trying to budget, so we were like, okay, let's just do the cheapest or middle ground. But we were so lucky because when we got there, they were waiting for the people that originally booked the small plane, I think, and they never showed up. And then they were like, okay, you guys paid for the cheapest, but you want to fly this little plane? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, because it's the best view, because it flies closer to the fields. So it was amazing. It was amazing. It's so mind-blowing. It's like, how on earth that happened? Yeah, look it up. It's really cool.
It's beautiful. And what else? I mean, how much did you pay for that ticket to to get the experience?
To be honest, I don't remember, but I think translated to dollars would be something like $100, I think, because the currency is very different. So
Yes.
at the time, my income was in Brazilian reais, and even Brazilian reais to pesos was like 1 to 7. It was a lot of difference. So I felt rich even with my tight budget. I had a really tight budget, but I felt like, wow, I can do so much. So I can only imagine, like, if you're paying everything with your dollar, like you can do so much.
Yeah. I mean, that's the advantage
like
of being from like a powerful country. Yeah, I mean, even here in Morocco, you can go and visit some very beautiful places with, I would say, $1,000. $1,000 here, you'll be living like king. You will buy everything you want. You will get everything you want. You will visit whatever you want. You will see everything, and still with a cheap price.
Yeah.
Here we have the currency is dirham, and $1 is worth 9 dirhams. So yeah.
That makes me want to go even more to Morocco. Yeah, I love Middle Eastern culture, food.
Food here is the best.
Morocco, it's not Middle Eastern, right? But it's similar, right, to Middle Eastern food.
It's better. I don't want to sound like
it's better.
I don't know. It's it's definitely better. I mean, it is different. There are some Eastern plates and some Eastern cuisine that I like, but if you are really used to the Moroccan cuisine, to the Moroccan gastronomy, you will find it hard to adapt to the other gastronomy of the other country. What Moroccan food have you ever tried?
Like couscous with different types of meat and stuff like that.
Where did you try that?
Is there a lot of it? Huh?
Where did you try couscous?
I tried here. There's like Moroccan restaurants here. Mm-hmm. Is there a lot of vegetarian dishes in Morocco too?
Yes, but we tend to put some
meat.
Yeah, we tend to put meat and chicken and in everything, in many plates. So if you like only vegetables, you can have vegetable plates. You can have vegetable tagine. Yeah, it is still really good. Are you vegetarian?
Yeah, I'm mostly vegetarian for about a year now. Mm-hmm. I have a rule. I don't buy meat and I don't cook meat. But if I am invited to someone's house and they prepared like a dish, I won't say no. Like I will eat whatever they put in front of me.
Yeah. And why did you turn into vegetarian?
So when I went through my yoga teacher training, my yoga teacher said that he was suggesting that we would try, at least for the duration of our program, to be vegetarians, to be plant-based, and see for ourselves how we feel, like the difference that we find in our body, mind, soul, everything. And I thought, before doing that, I would feel weak, like I thought I needed meat. I thought like something was gonna lack, but so I got more educated about it. And then after doing the experiment myself, after being the guinea pig, because I was like, I gotta try it and see for myself, be my own lab, like do my own experiment. What I found for me is that I had way more energy. I had less digestive problems, clearer head, like thoughts, and less inflammation overall in my body, and faster recovery time for when I get injured. So just by doing that for 3 months, I noticed all that difference. So I'm like, I'm feeling really good, and I just want to keep doing it. And to be honest, I don't even crave meat anymore. In the beginning I used to, but now I don't even crave anymore, because it's not only about diet, and it's not only about, for me, it's also ethical, because in yoga, we learn about ahimsa, which is the principle of non-harming. It's like understanding that we, just by being here, we're already harming everything. We're harming environment, there's things that we can't control, but how can we make the least amount of impact on Earth during the duration of our lives? And choosing to be a vegetarian is a huge one, because not only you're, doing so much for the environment, as you know, like a lot of the farming and everything is like really bad, but also you're not killing animals. So that's the principle that they teach in yoga. And then I started seeing my life from that angle now. I'm like, okay, how's the least amount of impact I can have? And then right now I created this rule for myself. Okay, I'm not gonna buy meat, I'm not supporting, and I'm not gonna order in a restaurant. But if someone cooks for me, like with love, and then I say yes, it's fine. That's how I'm living my life right now, because there's a lot of people that are very strict, but for me right now, that's where I'm at.
Interesting.
That's what
I mean, I've never experienced being vegetarian or vegan, but it really sounds interesting.
Yeah, I think overall everyone needs to just reduce a little bit of meat consumption. Like as humankind, we don't need to eat that much meat. We eat way too much, and just add more vegetables in general. We all need to do more of that.
Yeah, we should start increasing the amount of vegetables and decreasing the amount of meat. Well, what else can you tell us about yourself?
By myself, that I'm a spirit, living a human experience, and we're all in this life to learn and grow. And I'm way less harder to myself now that I'm older than I was when I was younger, and definitely happy, because I think I see everything now more like everything happens for a reason. Things happen for you and not to you. I think you see that way too, right? A more spiritualized perspective of things. Yeah, and definitely because I did all that, because I was successful financially and couldn't find happiness. Then I realized, like, it's not about money, it's not about status. And when we pursue those things, only those things, like you're pursuing money, you're pursuing status, just by that reason itself, you're going to burn out and you're going to be unhappy. And the earlier we figure out by ourselves that's not the way, that we need to find something that we're passionate about, that we love doing, and helping other people on the way, serving, that's how we're going to actually find fulfillment.
Yes. You had the chance of having enough money so that you didn't think that money is happiness. But many people don't have the chance like you had, and they still think that they need money to be happy.
Yeah.
And so for you, it was like kind of shortcut that you were able to take in order to find and to reach the things that makes you happy, right?
Yeah, I think that well, we all need money. Money is very important.
Yeah.
But there's like if you fulfill your basic needs, more money is not going to increase happiness to you. Just money itself. You can like, there's a lot of millionaires out there that are so depressed, so unhappy, because money is not the solution. just money.
Yeah.
So
I mean, money gives you
the
the
sooner we
luxury,
realize, the
but
better.
not the happiness.
Yeah, and you can be very successfully financially and happy, but the common thread has to be happiness and finding something that you're fulfilled, or at least starting your path towards finding that out for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. It was really interesting listening to your story, Vanessa, and I mean, it could be inspiring for many people. Like how life could change in just a matter of months or weeks, just because a simple knowledge that you or a simple thing that you were not aware of. For your case, is your citizenship, your American citizenship, that changed your life, that's helped you change your life. I mean, you were going to change your life in a day or another, but you having that ability of being an American citizen helped you reach your goal or your objective faster.
Yeah. I mean, not
Yeah.
saying that I wouldn't be able to do something like this in another country, but definitely I can see how living in a first world country offers you a lot of opportunities to reinvent yourself. So
Yes. And also we should think that everything that we are experiencing, everything that we have experienced has an impact on us. It's help us see the world from different perspectives. It gives us like the ability of knowing how to be able to interact with the upcoming circumstances and with upcoming events. I mean, if you haven't been to law school, I mean, the procedure of having your passports could have taken longer, right?
yeah, I probably wouldn't even find out about
Yeah.
this.
So yeah, everything happens for a reason, and we should be grateful for everything that happens to us, and everything happens for us, not to us, like you said.
Yeah. In yoga, we say like approach life, and I was talking about that the other day. Approach life with a neutral mind, because an event that happens in your life is not necessarily bad or good. It's just an event, and sometimes you needed to go through that so you can do from point A to point B. So
exactly, yeah. And it changes just by our way of seeing things, just by the perspective of seeing things. I mean, sometimes there are many good things in a bad situation or in a bad experience, but we are just not able to see it because we are so hurt, or because we are so I mean, we are just focusing on the bad side.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Trapped in that victim mentality.
Yes, exactly.
Like, for me, everything happens to me.
Yeah, why always me?
Also, we are what we think too. We are what we think. So if you think you can't do this, or if you think only bad things happen to you, that's probably what's going to manifest in your life anyway.
Exactly. So. Yeah, exactly. It's all about how we think and how we see things. Great. So thank you so much, Vanessa. I think we've come to the end of this episode, to the end of this interview with you. It's been a great pleasure having you on here today.
Thank you for the invite. That was fun.
My pleasure. And yeah, thank you for being here today, and thank you for sharing your experience and your story with us, with everyone, with some people that you never knew, and you may never know even. So,
and I'm an open book too. If anyone has any questions, either about like the citizenship stuff, about yoga.
just reach out to her? Like they send you an email or like they contact you on Instagram? What do you prefer?
Like just talk to me, reach out, you know. That's how we met. The Instagram, just send me a message. Wait, can you hear me?
Yes,
You froze for a second.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Be safe.
Stay safe. Have a good day.